New at 5, the company behind the long-stalled plans for a copper-nickel mine on the Iron Range is making changes to its proposal. The Minnesota DNR announced this morning that NewRange Copper-Nickel LLC submitted proposed changes to its NorthMet project, previously known as PolyMet. It is a proposed mine and processing facility about 6 miles north of Hoyt Lakes. Now, some of the company's proposed changes include adjustments to the mining and processing area's layout. Ore production would jump from 32,000 to about 40,000 tons per day. And the mine's lifespan would drop from 20 to 16 years. They also now plan to use a covered conveyor system instead of rail to transport material on site. Now, based on state law, the DNR is now considering whether a supplemental environmental impact statement is needed. They plan to make that decision in about a month and explain today what that could entail if they move forward with that supplemental review.
It is a very involved process. It involves multiple opportunities for public input. And then if permits are to be amended, there's also opportunities for public input.
You'll remember the NorthMet project underwent environmental review from 2004 to 2016 and faced many legal challenges along the way. Those were due to concerns about environmental impact.